So I'll call the meeting to order. Recording of members and guests present, introductions as needed. Christine Edwins is the librarian. I believe most of the people that are here were here at the last meeting. And welcome, Christine. Review of operating norms. Focus on agenda topics. Be open-minded. Respect each other. Value different viewpoints. Be responsive and responsible to our community in reference to the strategic plan. Make decisions based on data and facts. Listen to each other. Be reflective. Run meetings that respect time, have concise agendas, and are transparent. Addition or deletion of agenda items and agenda approval. Is there any additions for the agenda?
Well, I had a couple of things I wanted to discuss with the board, and I wasn't sure if we should just add it to the agenda. One of them was, I spoke to Carl Andier and Kevin Unrath about recommendations for retreat mediations for us as a board, and so I have a handout, and I just thought it'd be nice to kind of go over, and then we could discuss again at another meeting. But I think it'd be nice to put on the agenda for discussion tonight, and then I have a handout for everybody. And the second thing is that I have a handout for the open meeting law complaint form, which is revised from the one that we have on the library website right now, which is incorrect, unless you've already done that.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Based on the VLTC's suggestion, like their
model. Yeah. So like the one from Chittenden County, or a separate one?
No, a different one. So it's on the website. You can look at. You can see it.
Okay, great. Wish I had done that.
But it was done when?
Yesterday.
So that's why. Okay, great. And so is it also on there like a description of the law and stuff like that?
There's a link to the statute.
Awesome. Oh, that's great news.
And if anyone has suggestions, feel free. I just wanted to get it up there.
No way, that's great news. I wish I'd seen that.
I'm sorry, where is it?
It's on policies and under the open meeting law. I put it in both tabs.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, so just the one that addition to the agenda, if that's...
What would you give for a title?
Info on retreat mediation.
Retreat mediation?
Like a discussion. Like a discussion about that.
Thank you. Any deletion to the agenda items? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
With the addition?
With the...
Should we make a motion for the addition? I think. We just add it and then...
I think we just add it
and then make a motion?
I don't know.
I think we should add it and then just make a motion that we accept it.
Okay, so I've added info on retreat mediation.
Great.
And is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have 10 minutes for public comment. Is there any public comment before we continue? Sue?
Yeah, open meeting law form, looks good, and it's in a good spot. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, real-time feedback. Thank you. Any other public comment? Then we're moving on to MERP. Municipal Energy Resilience Program grant. Jessica Van Oort is going to talk about this.
All right, so I'm Jessica, you all know me. I'm here on behalf of the select board because I've been being the one who is in touch with this particular grant opportunity. So the acronym is enjoyable. It's called MERP. MERP. It means, MERP, right? I love it. It's Municipal Energy Resilience Program, and it's run by the Agency of Administration of Vermont State by Buildings and General Services. And what it is that over the last few years, they've been able to upgrade a lot of the state buildings to weatherize them and to, let's see, what does it say here? It's for funding to increase energy resilience, reduce energy use and operating costs, and curb greenhouse gas emissions by promoting weatherization, thermal improvements, fuel switching, renewable energy, battery storage, electric vehicle charging, and enhanced comfort in municipal buildings. So they've been doing that on state buildings, and they've gotten a bunch of buildings that are, or state agencies work, that are very carbon neutral, and that they've been able to save a lot of money on their heating and cooling. And they had some state money then dedicated toward municipal buildings to help us do the same kind of thing, knowing that municipalities don't have a lot of energy. I mean, we don't have a lot of money to make energy upgrades to our buildings. So the town of Pawlet was able to apply to join this program automatically because we are what is known as an high energy burden town. And that means that by whatever format the state has figured it out, folks in Pawlet spend more of their income on their heating and cooling than average for the state. So because that's the case here, we kind of are at the top of the line for this program.
Is that in regards to the municipality, like the buildings, or private homes?
I think it's in regards to private homes, but it indicates, yeah. But
Because I would have thought like that our buildings are old compared to maybe to other, but wow, that's an interesting statistic.
It is. And it could have to do with the general income level in our town, which is not as high as like some neighboring towns like say Dorset. And it also may have to do with that a lot of the buildings are older and less well insulated and than in some other parts of the state, and therefore people are spending more money. Right. But I think that knowing that individuals in the town are spending more money, they've kind of assumed that the municipality as a whole has less of a tax base and has less money to spend on the buildings. Right. So the town of Pawlet decided to join this program, and what we got was, which I'm sure some of the library trustees are aware of, we got a free energy audit for both of our town buildings, the town hall and the library. And they came through to do that earlier this year, and took photographs and looked in the basement, looked at the boiler, looked at all that stuff.
Went into the attic.
Well, their insurance did not let that particular person go into the attic, so Frank and I went up there with a ladder and took photographs.
Oh, you went in there.
I went into the attic and took
lived to
photographs.
talk about it.
Yes. So after that, we got back the town got back the results of the energy audit, which have a number of recommendations for both of the buildings. Where we are at right now is that it is now time for the town to apply for the large amount of funding. I'm working with Rutland Regional Planning Commission on this, and the town is able to apply for the full $500,000. This is a no-match grant, so we would not be on the hook for any of this. We may not get a full $500,000, but the Rutland Regional Planning Commission folks think we will probably get at least $400,000. So then this will be used for both buildings, and the priority of the projects that they will want us to do with it is, the first priority is the building envelope, like sealing up any leaks, improving insulation, anything that has to be done around windows or doors to make them not leak as well, just to tighten up the building envelope. So that's the first priority. The second priority is to upgrade and move away from fossil fuels in the heating and cooling, so HVAC improvements. And I know that in the library we've got one very important one, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have heard that the hot water here runs off the boiler rather than a separate hot water heater. And therefore the boiler needs to run even in the summer. So I'm sure that purchasing a separate water heater that doesn't run off the boiler is going to be high on the list of things that will save money. After the HVAC improvements.
But it runs, sorry.
Yeah, and so, the possibilities for the various HVAC improvements include potentially either air source or ground source heat pumps, depending on what is most recommended for our area. We would definitely, as a first step, would be hiring a engineering firm to plan out the full set of what's going to be done with both the town hall and the library. After the HVAC, the priorities after that is another bucket, which includes such things as battery storage, solar panels, and electric vehicle chargers. It would not be feasible to put solar panels on any of our slate roofs, so we're kind of nixing that part. The guy I'm working with thinks that probably the most feasible thing in that bucket and most important for us might be the battery backups. Because say we were to lose power and we wanted to still be able to run our heating and cooling, having a full house battery backup, or in this case a full library battery backup, would be a good choice. So that's what this money is largely meant to be used for. The thing that I really wanted to touch base with all of you about is that 20% of the grant funding needs to be set aside for Americans with Disabilities Act improvements. And I know that that's been a question in the past. Both of the previous library directors have spoken either with me or the select board or someone else, or had initiatives of trying to bring this building fully up to being accessible to folks in wheelchairs. And we know that the ramp in the back is not fully functional as far as you can't push a button and come in, there is some work to be done. And so 20% of the grant would come to around $100,000. And so with that in mind, I'm hoping that over the next couple months, the library trustees can start to think about what might be the best options that you would want to consider for how to make the library more accessible. I know that there have been plans that were drawn up for an elevator at one point, but then the town didn't fund the match funds for the grant. Nice thing about this grant is there's no match funds. So if it could be done on the amount that we're likely to get, that's a possibility. I mean, also there's the make the ramp better and make it not have snowfall on it and make there be a button you can push to get in the door. I don't know what would be required for that, but again, we will be working with an engineering firm who will be helping us with this. So that's pretty much what I wanted to let all of you know about. I'll get to you in just a second, but the timing on it is that this grant is moving fast. It has to be submitted by the 20th of this month. So Rutland Regional Planning Commission is writing it for us, and the select board's just going to sign off on it before it gets submitted. Probably next week, Tuesday, is when we're going to sign off on it. And then we will get a contract from the state, which will, at that time, we'll have to go into more details of what exactly we want to do. But right now, we're just kind of writing the grant for everything. We're like, here's the grant, we're for everything on the list, and once we get the grant money, and once the state issues clearer guidance on exactly how to use this grant money, because I don't know how much all of you have done working with grants, but often they will open something up and say, here is the grant opportunity, and we have not yet written the guidance. So they have not fully written the guidance yet. So we're going to apply for the grant. We're going to hopefully get the money. It's very likely that we'll get the money because we're on that high energy burden town list. And right now those are the only towns who are being allowed to apply. Yeah. And they want to get the money out of the door by the end of the year because it comes from some state ARPA funds which have to be obligated by the end of 2024. So we are asking to have the money as a lump sum up front, which we can do. So rather than, often in grants, you will have to save your receipts and be reimbursed afterwards. In this case, they would give us the money up front. We would save the receipts and write a report afterwards. So it could be moving fairly quickly. Yeah, what was...
My question was the engineers that you're going to have that will give guidance, would they be able to also advise us on how to make the ramp more compliant?
Yeah, they could. what the list of engineers who would be working on this is not really, there's not a lot of engineering firms that do, this would primarily be a looking at green upgrades to the buildings kind of engineering firm, but any big firm would also be able to give us advice about how to do the ramp, and maybe even a couple different options.
That's exciting. Thank you so much.
Does the library still have any of the old plans from several years back?
That's what I was
For the elevator?
Yeah.
I believe so. I haven't seen them, but I understand that we at least had them a few months ago.
We should dig those up.
Yeah, or even the plans from like when, I don't know, when the ramp was first made. If any of those things still exist, it would be good to get hold of them just to have to show to the engineers.
Know what not to do? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's always good in working with engineers for them to have original plans, because sometimes there's stuff under the surface of a building or of a ramp or something that people are not aware of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two questions. One is, this is a historical building as well as Town Hall is, and there's lots of rules about that. Is the town coordinating at all with the, what's that agency, Vermont, the historical?
Preservation.
It was the one.
Preservation.
Yeah.
The program, the MERP program as a whole is being done in consultation with the, again, I don't know the name, but I think that consultation will be done at the level of the Regional Planning Commission and or the engineers.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that we individually have to go speak to,
Meg Campbell.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. So not between now and September 20th?
No, I don't think so. If it has to be done, I feel like the engineering firm would probably be able to do that,
I
to
see.
talk to them. It is a known thing for our buildings and for a lot of other town buildings. When we did the initial application, we had to check which buildings were on the state and or federal register. And this one's on the state and that's on the federal. Yeah.
Between now and September 20th, what can the library do to assist you?
The library doesn't need to do anything between now and September 20th. Rutland Regional Planning Commission is really on it and is just going to, like I said, write the grant in a fairly generic way, just saying, we want to do the improvements and we would like the money, please. And it will really be, once we get into the hiring engineers and deciding what exactly needs to be done in the library, that the library trustees will really need to become involved and start making decisions. But yeah, looking for documentation, looking for any documentation about pretty much any upgrades that have been done to the building in the past, any blueprints, architectural plans.
I'm sure Marty has some stuff.
Yeah, all of those would be good to get hold of so that we can, when need be, we can give them to the engineering firm.
And because there's a lot of history sitting in the room here, does anybody recall the approximate amount that the elevator project was estimated at?
I think it was $300,000.
I thought it was in the 300s.
300?
I think so, yeah.
That's what I remember as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that might be beyond the scope of what we're getting, but I mean,
Right. However, lining up multiple sources, maybe it becomes tractable. Any other questions for Jessica?
You said that the funds would be appropriated by the end of the year.
yeah.
Do you know if there is a deadline on when the funds have to be used by? Sometimes, it's like you have to have projects started or completed by a certain
Yeah,
time.
there will be. I think it might be 2 years.
Okay.
I can find out for certain. I know that Rutland Regional Planning Commission told me, and I don't have it at the top of my head. But yeah, it's a fairly quick turnaround. I imagine that when it comes down to it, a lot of municipalities in Vermont are all going to be trying to hire these same engineering firms who do green building design. And so some of us may need to get extensions. That usually can be done.
Okay. Thank you.
Barbara?
What I wanted to know is when the elevator project was being talked about, was that in keeping with the building?
In keeping with the building, as far as being on the historical register, I don't know offhand, but I assumed so.
Yes. This building, the historical parts are just around the outside and not the inside, and that elevator was going to be in a corner in the back in that.
I thought it was an addition on the outside.
Yes, but a very small one tucked away. And
Also, if I recall correctly, the outer perimeter of that design was taking into account the form and function of the building to be compatible, so it doesn't look like something from space got landed.
yeah, it was very
historical.
conservative.
It was lovely.
Any other questions for Jessica?
This is great.
Bob?
Really good.
Well, I'd like to thank Jessica for doing all this work, because over the years, things have come up, fixed the front steps, the handicap access, elevator. We spent over $300,000 to convert this from the school to the library. And these things have been, I think Jessica now has opened a venue to act, for the board to act. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such good news.
Should we have this then on the agenda for next meeting to keep the discussion going on this?
Okay, because upgrades to buildings in the past, we need to develop an action plan for chasing that down. Thank you for that. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Approval of minutes for the 13th of August regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Grace.
Oh, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Secretary's report?
I don't have anything.
Nothing significant to report. Treasurer's report and action.
Okay, so I have the warrant for us to sign, and it's just regular expenses, including some book sale expenses, and I can just pass it around. It is in the amount of $2,645.37. And so I guess I can pass it around for us to sign. And then I can talk about the book sale expenses if you wanted now, or did you want to do that in the other?
Yes, I do have it later,
Okay.
but now I'm looking for it. I can't.
Committee, after director's report.
Thank you.
Okay.
And proceeds, yes, it's
Okay.
next. Yep. Thank you.
So, just I can update everybody, I did get the 2 thumb drives, and so, today, so I will be able to have some off-site backups with that. I'm in contact with Catherine, she's on vacation, but, as soon as she gets back, she's going to talk to me about treasurer duties and, see if I can, feel like I've got everything I need to go forward. What else? I've been working with Julie. Today was the taxes, so I had a couple questions for her that I'll leave till the next meeting. But I think that is it. I don't know.
I had a follow-up question for you. I sent out an email earlier in the month asking if it would be appropriate for us to use an accounting software, something like Xero or QuickBooks Online, because it seems like thumb drives are very much alt-moded and like they work, but you were talking about continuity between treasurers, and it was something, if we had something that was in an online platform, it would cost us something. I think Xero costs about $10 a month, so $120 a year or less. I'm not sure if they have a nonprofit
Right.
discount,
yeah.
but it would mean that things could be seamlessly uploaded it would be easier if we have an accountant who's helping us, like, do we do audits? Do you know if we have?
That is a question for the members who have been on the board for
Okay.
over a year, because
So, yes, I'm sorry, it hasn't been done since my tenure, so I didn't know if that information had been passed
that
down.
was one of the first questions I had.
So-
Yeah.
But if we had something that was an accounting software, it wouldn't mean you transporting a thumb drive to an accountant to do an audit. It would mean they could access our information. So I wanted to ask if that would be something that we'd be willing to discuss, because it just seems like for continuity and ease of use, it could be something that would be helpful to us.
I don't think that software is the answer. We have Excel, we have Microsoft Office that we can put things on, that cloud. The basic, the Excel is like the baseline. So having an added on like the software program would be less likely to be, shareable. The problem with that is, it's a little different, but we can do that through our Microsoft Office.
So our Microsoft Office can communicate with our bank seamlessly?
That is different, but the information I get from Julie can come in Excel.
Okay.
And that's like, I prefer personally to work with Excel because it's just like the backbone of all accounting softwares. Accounting softwares for people that it's just kind of not,
Maybe is it's
yeah, it's excessive. It's just, it's something else. Like then you'd have to learn a new program, and Excel is the baseline. So and Julie, like for us, we want to be compatible with our treasurer, the town treasurer. So that would be like a huge inconvenience.
But
She
it could,
uses
like,
Excel.
but it can be, accounting software like Xero can be compatible with Excel, so it's not, that's.
But
that's
I wouldn't want to add it on, honestly. I think that like the
Okay.
baseline is enough and not, and you mentioned hiring an accountant, and I don't know the process for the audit that is different than an actual accountant. I feel like that hiring an accountant would be kind of.
In reference to an audit, was the hiring an accountant in reference to the audit?
Sometimes other boards that I've been on, either the members do it or the members do it in conjunction with an accountant. So it can be just to make sure that everything is squared and everything is, like we do a yearly audit of all of the books so that things can be, make sure that they're up to date and transparent. And I guess, so.
Right, best practices are to do it once a year, every year. And for a small board like ours, the cost can be prohibitive, so it's said that you can have, like, the treasurer prepare it and then 2 members go through it and audit of the board.
Okay.
But
so-
I think it would be good to get to a point, and that's like professionally done, and then go forward as a board, maybe.
I see.
That is something that I was going to ask Catherine about, and also to see. So you guys have not had an audit in the time you've been on the board?
No, nor am I aware of, in years past, other people have been on.
Catherine would know for sure, but
Right.
the town is audited every year.
Right.
And they have an auditor
Right.
that goes through things. So if you decided you wanted something like that, there's one that comes over every year.
Right, yeah.
So would
can
you
ask
be
Julie.
willing to find out what the path might be for a grown-up audit?
Sure.
And then the board can do it in future years if that turns out to be something not too technical.
Barbara?
So was there an audit done when you took over between you and Catherine?
No, there was
I
nothing, yes.
would say an audit should be done
Yeah.
after Catherine, so that
That would
Cory
be,
has a clean slate to go
Right.
forward.
that's what I would hope for, yeah.
Absolutely.
I had asked I talked about audit in the beginning of my tenure on the board with all the stuff that was confusing with Linda Welch's selling of the books and such. There was a lot of things, there were numbers that didn't match up, and it was very confusing and vague. But I think it's an excellent idea, obviously, and I agree with Barbara that it should be done separately from Cory so that it's a clean
Right,
slate.
that's what I would hope for, and then I could take it forward, prepare it. I mean, it would still be a lot of work, on a volunteer basis for everybody. So probably, I mean, that's why people pay for them to be done.
I see.
But yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of town.
The town audit is usually done in conjunction with the fiscal year, tied to the fiscal year?
Talk to Julie.
Okay,
Yeah, I've done it.
I'll ask her.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Next week, give her a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know if anybody has questions about the expenses that I'm passing around for the warrant. Generally, I'm hoping to build, or maybe Catherine has one, I haven't seen it, like just expected monthly expenses that we have. I know that we have, you know, our budget, but just to make sure that everything has been paid on a monthly basis.
right. I think the budget is kind of very generic and doesn't mention actual vendors.
Exactly.
Whereas I think what
That's
you're
what I'm
going
looking
for
for.
is, oh, this vendor bills on these days.
Yes, and what account does it come out of, and, right, does it get billed to the credit card and then get paid, or how does that work? So that is, I'm working on that right now, as well as then starting the budget work.
So as we can, would it be all right to move on to the director's report? And then after the director's report, if anybody who's signing this has questions, we can come back to this?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I would assume they would not sign and if they had questions.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else, Corey?
I don't think so from the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Director's report?
Okay, hi. I'm basing this on Adele Santmeyer helped me to set up the format for the director's report that have been done up until now. So she gave me some statistics. The visitors for the month of August were 377, 93 checkouts, 55 Canopy movie checkouts, interlibrary loan, received 15, sent out 35, circulation was 339 items, and new patrons was 4. For the program, she gave me statistics for August. Yoga, the average attendance was four between the 9 classes. Bone Builders, average attend per class 8, and Adventures in Reading, the summer reading camp, 5 attended. In August, on the 10th, there was the Vermont Humanities, the History of Common Vegetables, 5 people attended, and on the 17th, the Poetic Life, and 8 attended that program. In September, we started the story time on the 1st and 3rd Fridays at 11, and 2nd Saturday at 11 a.m. Tech support starts again on Saturday the 21st from 10 to 2 with Celeste Keel. There's a lot of information about the raffle, the Root for the Library raffle that's coming up, and about the board members and donating the items for the baskets, gift certificates, or service valued at $100 or more. If you can, solicit a colleague or friend who also can donate an item or filled basket, gift card, etc. So this is one of our yearly fundraisers. A written letter has been sent, a written letter is sent to all our patrons with 6 tickets included within the letter. If a patron would like to buy a ticket or more tickets, they must put their name and phone number and the item number they are choosing to try and win on the ticket and mail it back to the library with their check. Tickets are priced $20 or 6 for $100. We will display all the items and give item numbers in the library. The prizes will be numbered and listed on the back of the letter. The raffle will also be on the website, giving a description of each item and who donated. We would like the items donated to the library by the 25th of September so we can set up the display, the bulletin board, and get the raffle letter done, sending it to Express Copy. The raffle will run through the month of October, and we will have the drawing on Saturday, November 9th at noon, so the public may attend and be involved in the random drawing. Next, there's the Harvest Homecoming Party that we're going to be doing on Friday, October 18th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the library, and the library is inviting everyone for the party. Music by Antone Music, plus come meet the new director. Food and drinks will be provided by the library staff and board, and we will also sell raffle tickets at the party. So I have a sign up there for different items for the board members to fill in if you get a chance to do that. Antone Music charges $50 an hour. And the couple other things that I wanted to mention was that Adele has brought to my attention, there's a storytelling grant that is being offered through the state, so I'll be applying for that. So that will be a program that we would like to apply for. I think the storyteller that we were looking at did a program in Wells, so I'll be following up on that. It's the 2024 Jordan Miller Storytelling Mini Grant, and applications are now being accepted. It's $500.
Who is the storyteller, do you know?
I don't have that information in front of me. There's a flyer here, but
Just-
I'll let you know. Yeah. And it's not like definitely that person, it's just, that was one idea. So that's that grant, and then we're officially open Wednesday night hours, and that's been great. We've had a few people coming in on Wednesday evenings, which has been nice. And I reached out to Les Jorgensen, I don't know if I'm saying that right, about the new library website project, and we're scheduled to meet tomorrow evening to go over the status of the project and see where we're at with that and how we want to move forward. And the only other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that I met with Scout Palmetto Proft, and she's the founder and farmer of the Celebrate Land Project, which is a nonprofit outdoor education program that she has put together, and she's doing some work with surrounding schools and libraries on getting children out into nature and the community, and she's working with different generations and different groups of generations of people to work together to encourage children to go out to nature. So we want to do a partnership with her, maybe with a backpack program, and include some of her activities and then what she does. And there's a link to her website in my report, and we'll probably link it once we start the program. She has the children participate in the program and do different activities, and then they come back, submit their work to her, and she has senior citizens or volunteers from the local schools write letters and give kids a certificate of completion, which is nice. So I met with her the other night, and she did the program also at Courier over the summer for the summer program, and it was very well received. So I'm looking forward to working with her, and I think that is it. And I just wanted to say, she's not here, but I did want to say thank you to Adele and to the board and for everyone for the warm welcome and helping me get everything started so smoothly. She's been very helpful getting me organized. So that's it.
Question, when patrons get the tickets in the mail, they could bring the tickets by?
Right.
Oh, okay, not just mail them back.
I'm sure that's fine.
Okay.
I'll make sure that's what we've done in the past, but I don't see why not, right?
Thank you. On the board, are there any questions for the director's report?
I have a couple. For the statistics, do you have those in Excel or a spreadsheet?
I'm gonna ask Adele. She probably pulls them from Koha, and she has other statistics that I don't know where she keeps them, but I'll find out. She just gave them to me.
Okay, it would be good to have them, the data, so that we can kind of see that. That'd be great.
You mean like tracking how much?
Trends?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then I guess I was wondering about the raffle, and I haven't been a trustee, so I was told that the trustees are expected to donate a $100 basket, or the value of with the $100, and is that just like best efforts, or is that a requirement of being a trustee?
Each board member, please donate an item, a filled basket, gift certificate, or service valued at $100 or more.
I see that, yes, and I was told specifically that the trustees were required to do this, and I was just curious, I'd like some more explanation about that, I guess, as a new, you know.
It's not required. It never was required.
And you can also solicit from people rather than
Sure.
give your own money.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I've never.
Is it from the board, or is it run, I mean, does the director do the raffle or, and organize it and then ask the board, or does the board do the fundraising?
It's our fundraiser.
Okay.
It's our,
Okay, so I was just wondering about that, like,
Wait, the chair has a question.
Sorry.
That's what I thought. The board is responsible for fundraising.
Okay.
However, the way the onslaught came at me was Adele saying, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And it sounded like it was under control. And all we need to do is solicit among people ourselves to get other things contributed to the raffle.
So okay, so like Corey, I'm new to the board, you guys have been on the board longer, but I think that organizationally, because I was told also that I was required to donate $100. She even suggested, or I know, gift certificate to my restaurant. And that's fine, it's a great idea, but the point is, I think that language matters and then delivery matters, and I think that also organization matters. So it would be really helpful to know, like, if there's a committee or if the board is in charge, like we had to push it off our meeting, I think, because our meetings have been full. But I just think that organizationally, it's been a little bit off-putting and unclear to a new member. So this is only from my perspective, and of course speaking to hers, but just for you guys who are more seasoned and have been through it, that's what it didn't feel quite right for me.
I think that when we tried to have it on the agenda at the July meeting and the August meeting,
yeah,
and it was pushed off because
yes,
it was too full, that would have been organizationally helpful, because then we could have had time. But that was not
right. So for me,
right.
Again, like, you're seasoned, but the way that it's been addressed to me.
I can answer the question really easily if I would be called upon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lindsay?
Thank you. So the community resource coordinator position is solely responsible for managing this project. It's in her job description. It's the reason why extra hours were given from the director to that position.
Okay.
And so she's the one that organizes everything. She's the head person to talk to, which in this case would be Nina.
Right.
So she is your point person for this project. And the only other thing I can say is in previous years, it was done a lot sooner.
Right.
Because now it's going to get really close to then asking for more money for our annual appeal. So we, in the past, had tried to separate that out. So
certainly this year has been.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I can see from the outside that's glaringly different.
Right, the timing.
But
it's Nina's job.
Yeah, it's Nina's job.
So we as a board members are asked to gather items.
But it should be from Nina, correct?
Yeah. From Nina? What should be from Nina?
If Nina's in charge of it, I mean, I would think that if she's in charge of the fundraiser, that she would organize it and then communicate that. Because, like, so there's already been mixed messages sent out, or maybe even just the wording of it has been not as eloquent or as helpful or as even proactive as it could be. I'm just saying that, so I'm getting mixed messages, but that's good. That's clear. I can ask Nina questions, right, about the way it's organized. And in the past, I mean, wouldn't it make sense then if she's organizing that we would get some kind of communication as far as direction from the person in charge?
I think the direction we have is here in this paragraph, and that's, I don't know what else I would need.
Can you explain?
The timing and the schedule is laid out here, and the action items for the board.
So this wasn't written by Adele, it was written by Nina? Is that what we're saying?
Sorry?
This wasn't written by Adele, it was written by Nina then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what the board needs to do is clear in this paragraph.
Well,
so
well, I think as far as the board talking to the staff members, I think now that we have a library director, the policy is that the liaison talks to the director, and the director directs her staff about actions needed. Is there any particular information that seems to be missing? Is there something missing from this?
Well, it
just contradicts a bit of what I was told from Adele, and I'm sorry, Corey, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Why wouldn't you talk to Nina about it if it's Nina's job?
I don't know, but Joanne had her hand up.
Joanne?
It seems to me that, been involved with these baskets before, that it's an imposition to ask a trustee who is donating hours and hours of their time to also then stick their hand into their pocket for, say, $100 basket. So I think what was done in the past is, let's say, Joni has come up with a theme and she will contact several other people and ask them to help contribute to that particular basket, so she doesn't have to outlay $100, or Corey or anybody else, or a $100 gift certificate, which is a lot to ask of one person. So, but I think the way I feel, what that says is that each one of you are responsible for coming up with that $100. So I think that's kind of misconstrued.
That's how I understood it as well.
Right.
Last year, I got 2 contributions that turned out to get lots of tickets submitted to them. And I felt like I finally handled it, as opposed to the year before where my contribution got 1 ticket. So, I mean, that's what contributes to making the fundraising successful.
So if Corey wants to do a wine basket, she could get 3 or 4 other people to contribute bottles of wine to put into her basket. That would be, that's acceptable, correct?
Oh, it's just that we are just told about this now at the meeting, or like recently, you know, a couple days ago when Adele saw me, and it just so, like, it is not part of, it wasn't put out in the call for a new trustee. There's a trustee position open and you have to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I mean, you can't legally ask an elected person to pay.
I think, again, the message was just, it didn't come out, I mean, for me anyway, I wasn't with you when you spoke to Adele, but this makes a lot more sense, and it's a lot more inviting and exciting,
collaborative,
and creative and collaborative. And, you know, I felt, you know, it wasn't the way I was felt with the way I was instructed before, so.
And it's due on the 25th, so that's, are there other baskets coming, or is it just like trustee versus trustee?
Adele's keeping a list of some of the baskets that she's keeping an eye on based on what was received in the past, and I can get that updated information from her tomorrow. And if you have any other questions, you can always email me and I can go and talk to Nina, or we can meet with Nina.
Great.
Yeah.
But the question was, are there 5 baskets or more than 5 baskets?
I think she said they were looking for 12 baskets.
Wow.
Last year there was how many?
I'm not sure about baskets, because there were several baskets, including a Barbie basket.
Yes.
But
and there were some from local businesses.
And also, basket might be a little misleading. Like, I solicited a picture by our local artist, for example. I mean, that's not a basket, but I think the reason maybe baskets is because it's very memorable when you see the bourbon basket. But yes, items solicited for the raffle that would encourage people to buy tickets because they want to win that.
Right.
I won.
And I think also basket just makes it, you don't have to like have an item that's worth such a, so much. Like,
you can mix it up.
Like do local foods. Like, I've asked friends of mine for gift certificates to various like local farmers and farm stands and stuff, and so.
That's a good connection, which I usually forget about. It was nice to advertise the local artist, for example. Like, oh, this is mutually beneficial. But what I liked about your contribution is it got people anybody who wins, even when they just look at what's being offered, become more aware of the different farm stands in the area.
Mm-hmm. So I think like it might be even a good idea to have like 2 local food baskets and have like syrup and honey and 2 gift certificates to whatever, if we can separate that to 2 baskets, that kind of thing might be helpful. But so it's not like you have to be like, okay, this basket, or this item is worth exactly $100.
Yep.
Barbara?
I couldn't hear the new director very well. You speak very softly. So
I'm sorry. I should have spoken to the microphone.
Quite hear you as well, so I'm just going to make a suggestion. couldn't you go to the different stores in Manchester, even RK Miles, and have a basket made up by them and say sponsored, or write it in the news guide or somewhere, baskets are sponsored by blah, 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 and go and get a basket with items that you could fill from RK Miles, that you could fill from El Duce's, and it would be an advertisement for them when you write up about the whole thing, and they would see it, and you know, it's no cost to you, it's just a little work going to these different stores and getting merchandise to fill up different baskets.
Yes, that reminds me of what one of the baskets was last year, contributed by Heather Lund, was gift certificates to several different places, including Mother Merrick's.
Sometimes it's more fun to receive the things that you're getting rather than a gift certificate.
That's right.
And if you see
Yes.
a basket full of tools, you know, nails or a hammer or small things that aren't overly expensive, baskets don't have to be this big. It could be smaller baskets.
Yeah, that's right, although that
Just
sounds
a
like work.
suggestion.
But are you saying then, like, the person, Nina, would do that, or are you thinking that the trustees?
Just go and say, we would like to fill a basket worth about $100, and then they could pick out things with your help, what might be good to go into that basket.
Right, but, I mean, just that's what, that, I guess, is the confusion, if it's the trustees or the person whose job it is to do that.
Her job is to organize the overarching raffle, send out the tickets, make sure that things are organized, make sure that there's press releases.
The administrative part.
The administrative part is what
Okay.
she is organizing. We
Okay.
are to be the ones who are fulfilling the role of providing the items.
But, I mean, well, I have to reread this again, but, I mean, Adele, it made me feel like I was responsible for one basket, but if there's a dozen baskets or 19 baskets, then,
I think that one is the bare minimum for what we're supposed to do.
She also sent letters out to local businesses as well.
Adele is soliciting baskets as well.
okay.
I was a little surprised when I was told if each board member, contributes one equivalent basket, and I thought, well, that's easier. And it was right after the book sale, and I was pretty happy.
I think last year it was said that one was the minimum, 3 was encouraged.
Whoa.
But that, I mean, that's got to be part of a discussion. We haven't had that kind of discussion.
Hearing last year was like,
From the board, from the
from like
trustees.
when we were doing it last year, it was like, you really try to do one, but if you can do more than one.
But that seems to me like a trustee discussion in a board meeting kind of thing, rather than
Right.
coming from the director to, or Adele to the board.
Right.
That was my point, I guess.
So,
Right?
I was just really
So we
happy it
didn't
was
have-
being kind of handled and turnkey versus trying to create it and administer it and figure it all out. So I was just really happy with how it was going.
It's not even in Adele's job description. It's not her job to be sending letters out to people or telling the board that they have to do this.
Uh-huh.
but if she wasn't doing it,
Nina.
okay.
We've done this for years, we've done it for several years.
Yeah.
And it's Nina. And the board helps out and tries to get things together and make baskets or whatever, or it goes to Gibby and, gets something, or Bobby Wood and gets something, and, but Adele doesn't really have anything to do with it.
And I guess just since it hasn't been on the agenda for the meetings, then I didn't know anything about it up until now. That's
Right.
That's good. Okay.
Any other questions about the director's report? Committee reports, book sale, post-action review. I'm not sure, I was asked to estimate how many hours people work.
I did ask that.
And
Project.
so there's book sorting that starts in late April, goes through early July. There's book sorting that started today that will go through the end of October. And so I estimated the hours spent on that, as well as the book sale proper. I got 504 people hours. I think calling it 504 is a little misleading. It sounds like there's 3 digits of accuracy, and this is just, there's an average of 5 people sorting books for 2 hours once a week, and the number of volunteers on site at the book sale, the Wednesday night, the Thursday organizing, the Friday, and after the book sale. So that's what I came up with, 500 hours. So probably less than 1,000.
For the entire thing? Okay, I ballparked 1,000 but I wasn't sure about that. Wow. Yeah, because I didn't have from now until the end of year for book sorting. That's interesting. It's like, I forgot to get it out of the folder. There's a folder with stuff about book sales in the past and how many volunteers we need in these areas and what was done. And
yes. And
that was part of it, was like planning that out. So, all right, that is good.
Post-action review, there was a meeting of the book sorters, and I have to pull it up here. With some ideas, they include distribute more postings locally. The sense among the book sale sorters was there wasn't enough postings locally, that we need to, I think this was a Joanne-inspired comment, Febreze to spray the boxes and the books.
I didn't say Febreze.
No, but it was inspired by it.
Yeah. Well, that was just those old paper bags that
yes.
seniors were getting.
And they were sniffing the books today, actually, and some books were not passing the smell test. Yeah.
Put baking soda in the boxes?
Sorry?
You put baking soda in the box too?
Oh,
it absorbs
thank you. That's a good...
Forgive me, but can you just describe what you mean by postings? Do you mean advertising of the book sale, or do you mean for volunteers, or what do you mean postings?
Advertising of the book sale.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Flyers, more postings was the sense of among the people at this meeting. Broaden our geographical placement of the Burma Shave signs, more use of social media. There's book sales in New England website. Who knew? And using the local newspapers more, and doing a press release.
I think you could put into it the volunteers and the labor hours, like you could use that in advance too, to just feature them in advertising or something. I know there was one, maybe it was a thank you picture of the book sorters, but I think you could use that in advance.
In order to garner more?
We did, actually, because I posted on Front Porch Forum asking for volunteers is how we got St. Gobain to use, they showed up with 10 people.
Wow.
To sort, to set the tables up.
Right.
And it was win-win. Everybody was happy about that.
Yeah, or even the book sorter, like, profile, we could profile that, maybe
I'm
through
wondering if
PR.
there's other businesses, Telescope Casual, for example, next year, who also have volunteer hours that they'd like to use. So if we need help setting up.
Telescope does that also, yes. I think you told me that.
Maybe.
The food, the sense was to downgrade the food to a loaf of bread, mayo, cold cuts, much
Food
lower
for volunteers?
cost. Sorry?
Food for volunteers, not
For
the
the
bake sale?
volunteers,
Oh,
yes.
Yes, it was pretty expensive.
Yeah, and water, not soda. Those were,
We donated our food.
Yes.
Like it was $300, wasn't it? 3 or something?
Forget, I have yours at 141.
I think we got flopped then, because I think mine was, well, let me double check.
Okay.
I thought it was... That could be it.
and we
I have a
changed,
printout somewhere.
Yeah, I had it in here.
You got it.
we changed some of the categories of the books, but that's just a sorting logistics thing, but it's simpler. So that was our post-action review.
And what about the book, the bake sale? Were there any thoughts on that, or?
There wasn't anything mentioned on the bake sale. The person who ran it has ideas for next year. But it wasn't part of the after action of the group I was talking to.
Is worth keeping going? I saw it because one of the notes from previous years said something that it was not effective or something along those lines, but...
Oh, we used to have the kitchen actually at the school, and people were getting hot dogs and the volunteers were being fed, and that the cost benefit of that was viewed as too much work and not profitable enough, but the bake sale seemed to be a win.
Okay, that makes sense.
A lot more people coming by, volunteering.
Also.
Does that answer, well, that's what I have to say about post-action review. And Corey, do you have anything financially?
I do. And we weren't able to parse out the bake sale money, is that right? I forget.
709
Oh,
is what I
709, okay.
remember.
Okay, I didn't see that anywhere. So I can just do, let's see, where did we do? I guess I looked at the budget and I kind of tallied everything. This is still subject to going over again with Julie because I just did a rough, well, I did the information based on what we have, but I had to put all of the data together because it was in separate worksheets. It was pretty not easy to manipulate. So going forward, it'll be easier. Sorry for that, but so our budget for fiscal year 25 revenue for the book sale was $13,000, and it looks like we made $12,646, so not far off on that. And then the expenses were budgeted at $3,000, and our actual was $1,719.57. So I think good on both ends for that.
Wow.
Big success.
Oh, except, I do have one question. Will there be more expenses? There are some Casella bills I saw from last year's book sale expenses that were in September, October, and in November. They were around $225.
There was Casella as well as posters. No, we didn't do posters this year as far as paying Quick Print or that company.
We did have,
there was
Adele got posters somewhere, but like Staples.
Right. Sue last meeting mentioned a couple of things that I'd forgotten. Casella was one of them. For expenses. Sorry?
Electricity in Jed's barn.
Well, yes, that's covered.
We just paid Jed in this warrant, and we had voted on it last meeting for $400.
That's part of the book sale though.
Yeah, it went to the book sale.
So is that for the electricity?
I don't know what it's for.
The 400?
Well, it was considered,
And like
use of his barn.
So Casella is coming up then, is that right?
Casella will be picking up through the end of October every other week.
Okay. So it'll be, if it's the same as last year, $225, so right around $2,000 in expenses.
I see.
Yeah.
see, it didn't get past you yet. Yeah, sorry.
Is that the warrant coming back?
Well, eventually.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good, we did it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
What was the net figure for the book sale?
I'm sorry, the net? Well, just about $10,750, so.
Any other questions for this committee report? Unfinished business, 2024 open meeting law changes. I think there's a requirement to post audio. And what I believe the select board does is uses PEG TV and said, we have PEG TV. Well, we do too. We can still post.
I've been posting it.
And you've been posting audio? So we're meeting the criteria for the open meeting law changes.
Where's the audio posted?
Right with the minutes.
Right with the minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we're exceeding. We're exceeding. We're not meeting, we're exceeding.
All right. Well, I'm not used to it. But website project. Christine is going to be meeting with Les Jorgensen. And my concern is, having found out that the reason that the libraries typically in Vermont are using WordPress is something about a state agency said, here you go, WordPress. And I was just wondering if the website revamp is going to be compatible with WordPress. Will we be able to maintain it?
I have to find out more of the history of what that story is with the WordPress, but I'm just going to do an information gathering tomorrow night with Les and see what's gone on until now and what needs to happen. So that'll be part of it. Yeah.
So anything else on the website project? Questions? Window washing, we got an estimate. I wasn't clear on the next action.
So, and I wasn't either. I actually was gonna call a couple of other providers, and I couldn't remember, and was it you, Joni, who maybe had a recommendation of somebody who, because I thought it was, who did I think it was, and it wasn't them. But in reading the bylaws, if it's over $1,000, then I'm really supposed to put it out to bid, or we're supposed to put it out to bid. So I guess.
Do you want me to find somebody else? A second person?
No, I think what you do, when you put it out to bid, don't you have to advertise the job and then ask for people to submit? I mean, we can reach out to people certainly and say, hey, we're gonna have this job and we're putting it out to bid, because frankly, people in this trade don't have to look for work. You know, so I'm really glad we have a single estimate, an applicant, or, person who, but anyway, by our bylaws, it needs to be out there. So I think it could be posted on Front Porch Forum. I don't know when you post a job, do you know what the requirements are? Or if there has to be a minimum of locations or anything like that?
Well,
put something out to bid?
I think taking the steps that make sense for trying to get the word out.
Yeah.
And so Front Porch Forum?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. We could even ask Deb to put it on the town website, just in case, or Facebook, our Facebook page.
See what they do when they put things out to bid.
Yeah, Pawlet newsletter. Pawlet newsletter.
I just asked my sister who she used at the store, because they have that done frequently as a business.
Yeah, so again, like, it's not just about soliciting bids, but it's actually putting it out, it's advertising it publicly so that it's, but we can do both.
Nobody comes in.
Yeah. Or just posting it in the front.
Posting it in the front is another good idea. So let's try that for this next month, and we'll revisit it again next month, but
it would be nice to get it done before it gets cold.
Yeah,
I know it's been, you're right.
I was thinking that the one window washer that I know was 2 months ago booking out to 2025 already.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be a rush.
if
But-
horses were horses.
We'll see. Maybe we'll get bids that are all in line with, the Bilkas, and they could start, I think it was this, so we'll see.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else on this?
Do we need a
Should we make?
vote to put it out to bid then? Do we?
Sure, I'll make a motion to put out the window washing project out to bid, or the window washing job out to bid.
And will you be yourself putting it out to bid? So I know.
Sure, I'll make a motion that I will be putting out the window washing job out to bid.
Yay.
I'll
Is
second
it-
it.
All right.
That's,
Any more discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I think we didn't have a motion for the warrant, to approve the warrant, did we?
It hasn't been.
Oh,
Right.
our signature doesn't,
Well, we need to vote to sign it, basically, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the warrant?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Oh. No, I don't, unless anybody had questions?
I looked it over, I don't. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We can now sign the warrant.
All right.
Next item, 2024 calendar fundraising effort number 2. There's 3 big fundraising efforts, raffle. Now, we ended up kind of discussing this during the director's report. Is there anything else to discuss as far as raffle plan?
Is there the timeline? So it's not at the harvest party that the raffle gets drawn, it's later? Okay, November 9th, okay.
She said it gets drawn, yeah.
On the 9th?
Okay. I was thinking it was earlier, but that's when they're due, 9th, okay.
Run through the month of October on Saturday at noon. for
So I
the
guess
drawing.
at the harvest party, people can see the baskets.
Yeah, it was just like an opportunity for people to see. Yeah, November 9th, the drawing at noon. And September 25th, I think, was the goal for getting everything together.
And then after that is when the letter goes out with the raffle tickets, or
After October.
after we have
Yeah.
so you advertise what's there?
What's available, right.
Okay.
Joanna?
I know this is a short time frame this year, but would it be more festive and more exciting for the people who are here to greet the new librarian? We're having a celebration, promote the baskets, get people to spend their money, and then pick the winners while people are here?
People might not be prepared to buy tickets right then. It's just my initial
Okay.
reaction, but
Just a thought.
let me ask.
Just a thought, or
Board,
maybe
what
the
do you think?
following year,
To do the drawing like that night, you mean?
Yeah, make it,
I think like Carly said, that if people aren't anticipating drawing that night, that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to sell tickets, right? If the baskets are in by the 25th, I don't know, I think,
It's not enough time.
is there something planned for the 9th of November at noon?
That's what I was, wondering.
yeah, so what else is
Is
going on?
is that some kind of activity, do you know? Do you remember from previous years when they do the drawings?
Last year it was done down in the Matt Waite room.
With, audience, or was it just?
A few people, but not the general public, no. Lindsay?
So in the past, it's been done at a board meeting, and the board meeting has kind of been like a little party rather than business, and then that way the public has an opportunity to come and be here and participate as well.
That's a nice idea. I think that sounds better than like the basement of the Matt Waite room with a couple of people.
Yeah.
I think.
Board meeting?
Yeah, because I think that, we could have a more laid back, celebratory, happy board meeting too. But wasn't a joke.
So the board, would it be the November board
The
meeting?
November board meeting, so that would be the following 9th and 7th.
So November 5th, I think is the,
That's election day.
Oh, right, we have to
I
decide.
did caution in my warning here.
Should offer week.
To the 12th.
Can we
Yeah.
move it to the 12th?
Yes. And then we also have to check if the select board has a meeting as well.
The select board does have a meeting?
The
we
select
have to
board does
check.
not have a meeting on the 5th,
So then they have it on the 12th.
so they must have it on the 12th.
But we do from 5:30 to 7:30, so we could go after. We've done one of those.
Oh, yeah, I kind of given up on trying to deconflict with the select board, so. So I'm hearing you say that you don't want it on election, or what we call the Super Bowl for
Yeah, no way.
political.
I can't handle it.
No, thank you. No. No.
Can't stomach it.
No, thank you.
Nah.
I'll be having a stomachache back.
That's,
We're enough with it
I'm gonna be like-
tonight.
I have a stomachache right now. Thinking about that.
that's actually why I mentioned it. I was curious if, okay, got that message. November 12th then?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Okay,
so we are
yes.
going to,
And I think that's a great time to draw the baskets.
Oh, yes, and the,
And we can try
to the original
and we
point,
can put it on the
yes,
agenda and try to let people know in the public and try to encourage more people to
Yes.
come.
yes.
Thank you.
so do you have
Sounds more
a,
festive than, as you say, a few people in the basement. And maybe the following year, you could do a harvest thing and
Yeah.
incorporate.
all together? That sounds fun. So do we have a motion for the meeting to change the date of our next meeting? Is that what you're?
No, I don't think we do that by motion. I don't think so, but anyways, it's down later
Okay.
in the agenda. Anything else about the fundraising effort number 2 raffle? Moving on to creating new board email addresses similar to select board, including, and I heard somebody say, or Corey actually mentioned syntax, like what syntax
Well,
should we
just
use?
the, it was the Pawlet pub at gmail.com is the director's Gmail, and then Nina has hers, it's like coordinator.pawletpub@gmail.com, so I just thought we could all do our name, .pawletpub@gmail.com, and then that, the select board has their name, .pawletsb@gmail.com.
that's
So
right.
just kind of
I was wondering about mimicking that.
Yep.
And the reason I'm interested in dropping Pawlet Pub is that address has apparently gone out to scammers.
which,
Both Adele's and Nina. Nina, as you pointed out, Nina has coordinator.pawletpub@gmail.com. So I was wondering if Pawlet SB is Select Board, Pawlet PPL, Pawlet Public Library,
Pawlet PL?
PPL.
Well, Pawlet Public Library, yes. PP. No, but it's Pawlet PL, Pawlet Public Library.
Oh, duh, thank you. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
yes,
Yes.
right? Like Pawlet
Yes,
SB,
you're right.
Pawlet PL.
Yep. Is that
So our name's .pawletpl
at
at
Gmail?
gmail.com. Yeah.
Okay.
And the staff would use that also
We still
with individual staff emails and a general, because the clerk of the select board, it says that she gets most of the emails, actually.
Harley?
Yes,
So the select
oh, I
board is,
forgot, we had,
the select board is considering moving away from Gmail as it's a free email service and potentially getting emails through our own website domain, like pawlet.gov. So we might have emails that were such and so at pawlet.gov instead of at Gmail. We haven't done that yet, but something you might look into is getting emails through your domain.
That might be part of the conversation.
Publiclibrary.com, because most website service providers will provide you with quite a number of emails based in your domain. And that would be more secure in Gmails. I mean, I hate to say this since the select board hasn't done it yet, but moving away from the Gmails is good for public entities.
Right, I talked to Tim about that, and he suggested doing that, going through VTEL even, or for us, going through our website. It's just our website, I don't know how far away that is from our website being operational.
So, I mean, perhaps it is a Gmails until you can get something better.
I think that would be better, just to have it separate, yeah.
Let's, there's one other problem with the Gmail, is that nobody apparently turns them off at the end of a select board member's term.
Right, that's because it's not even Google Workspace, it's just individual accounts. Kristen set them up for everybody, but, so that, yeah.
So turning it off is you know, part of the deal. If it's, if email is controlled from on high.
Right.
Then they can turn it off.
Right, but, I mean, nobody would turn off, you know, like Catherine's email, right? I mean, that she was the treasurer, no, she's not, but she's
got the same
still
email.
getting the board emails going to that address, right? It's I mean, it's not less secure than our personal
Oh, I wasn't
emails.
thinking about security, I was just thinking about turning it off at the end, so that, and the only thing about that wasn't security so much as, I sent an email, how come nobody answered me?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, preventing that kind of thing. Should we not do anything until after Wednesday when we talk about when you talk about the website with Les Jorgensen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how definitive that's going to be as far as what you want to take action on, but I could definitely have more information after the conversation. I can let you know.
Yes, oh yeah, not an action, but
Right.
a possibility.
Yeah.
And we just hold on to situation normal.
Well, we don't need to, it's, I mean, I don't know if it would turn over right away to a new website.
I mean, you want to do like a temporary?
Just the Gmail, yeah, as
Right.
temporary. Yeah, without having the domain.
So can I ask a question? When we're saying pawletpl@gmail.com,
Right.
we're not talking about creating it, like, I have a personal email that is back-ended by Google. That is my name at my first name at mydomain.com,
Right.
.net, but it's run by Google. The West Pawlet Fire Department has, let's say, fire chief at West Pawlet Fire Department.com, but it's back-ended by Google.
It's a Gmail account.
But it's a Gmail
Right.
account.
Right.
So it's not at Gmail, it's just, it's using the servers of Gmail, but it's our own domain.
Right. We're not
And
doing
that's-
that yet.
We're not doing that yet, but
No.
that runs about $10 a year.
Right.
And we can,
Per email address or?
I think per organization.
Is that's, yeah, we would need to be on like the government, I think, thing, because we're not a nonprofit, we're attached to the town, so, because I looked into that, the Google Workspace.
Speaking of
Money.
nonprofit, nonprofit, we should, in future meetings, put that back on the agenda for,
501c3?
yes.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's limiting, not having that status is limiting.
Well, we can talk about it. I talked to Julie about that, and we're not, she didn't seem to think that we were not benefiting. I mean,
She thinks that it's
it was
neutral?
yeah.
Okay.
Because we're under the umbrella of the town, which isn't a nonprofit, but they are government, so people can take tax write-offs
Okay.
Oh, they can?
via that.
Even if the money, if we solicit money, if people donate money to the library, it doesn't go into the town budget though, it goes into our library budget.
Right. So I can ask more
Because,
for that.
right, I think that, and the people who would be more encouraged, I think donors might be more.
To the library, big donors to the library.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask.
For the 501c3, I think the benefits,
Right.
I think there are a lot of benefits to it.
And I want to know what the grant writing implications are too. Like, are we able to be,
Right, considered for all
Right,
grants,
yeah.
like that might be one of the requirements for certain grants.
Don't know how much more, we might have to be super independent then of the town.
so
Yeah, in order for that to happen.
we did have it as recently as like 2018, 2019.
We did, because
I think so.
remember we were told by somebody who was part of the library that was it Mr. Lubke had tried to get us that recognition, and it failed, or he didn't finish it. It wasn't done.
Okay, I thought that-
They worked on it extensively, but it wasn't
I
finished.
think
They have it.
oh, yes, Lindsay?
What I can say, this is what I know about that. So right now, we're a municipal library. If you get a 501c3,
C3?
then you become completely independent. It's no longer a municipal library, and it's like you're a corporate library, which there's a whole different set of governance.
Could you have a committee, like a Friends of the Library, have its own entity of a 501c3 for like that governs, donations and?
Yes.
I
Right.
think you could.
You can, and then continue to be a municipal library.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to like separate.
No, we don't want to do that.
Okay.
But, so that would be a separate committee.
Yeah.
Which would be good.
Yeah, but so we could put this, it sounds like there's lots to discuss on that. We could put it on the agenda.
The Town Hall Restoration Group that I was part of, we were a 501c3, and Julie, the town took care of the money.
Yeah. But it was a separate.
That was separate, yeah.
So with the emails then, should we temporarily do the pawletpl@gmail.com until we get our website up and running, and then we could move forward?
I think so.
I mean, I guess we can all do it individually anyway, can't we?
Right, yes.
Whether we want to or not. Because we're all using I'm using my personal email, so I can just,
Yeah.
but if I do, I'll send out to everybody so that you guys know going forward.
Can
Sorry,
you say
am I
that
not- am I
last two
mumbling?
sentences? Last two sentences over.
I was just saying that should we, going forward like today, because we don't have clarification from Les Jorgensen, and I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but I know it's going to happen, obviously a revamp of our website. But in the meantime, should we go forward with the pawletpl@gmail.com individually, just so we have that separation? Okay, great. Should we make a motion for that, or is that just something we should each do individually? Is it a personal choice?
Seems like we can do it individually, but are we all agreeing to do that? A motion would say, we shall do that.
Right.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, going forward, like within the next week, I guess, try to individualize our emails at the pawletpl@gmail.com.
I'll second that motion.
That was fair enough?
Yes.
Thanks.
I
You guys wanna
appreciate the
discuss
time
it?
deadline on that. That's awesome.
Okay.
Not like things
More discussion.
around.
More discussion? Going once, going
Grace?
twice, sold? Do we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
By next week,
Yeah.
we have a 1-week window here to have our a Gmail using the syntax first initial, last name, dot pawletpl@gmail.com.
Can you send that out in an email tomorrow, just because? I won't retain it.
I could. It may not be from H. Cudney. Yes, I will.
Now, do you want that to apply to the staff or not yet?
I think the staff, like you, no, go ahead. Each of the staff members, as well as,
Because the staff members right now have separate library emails.
But they've been
hacked apparently.
no, there's only 2.
Well, there's the Paul and Nina, right?
And they've been compromised?
Well, Nina.
Well, their spam messages are coming supposedly from me.
Does that mean that you've been?
No, because it's a different address when you
Right.
click on it, but it looks like it's from me.
Oh, that is disturbing.
They're asking for gift cards.
I'm not gonna get fired, am I?
Unless you're the originator.
Asking for gift cards.
How serious that would be.
So you can decide, you can decide what you want to do. My recommendation is every staff member has an email address as well as a blanket one for the library.
Right.
We have a motion on the floor for just the director, for the trustees though, correct?
Trustees and Christine will decide what to do for the library. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. There was quite a bit said about personnel policies, like, hey, maybe we should have some. And my question is, what's our, Joni has done quite a bit of work on personnel policies, but I'm not sure how to structure this so that people can,
Interact.
like how's the board going to accomplish personnel policies? It should be in conjunction with the director for her advice. The board is responsible for them. How do we move forward?
Well, I can only speak from, yeah, you could have a committee, and that's what we did on the school board, and then at our monthly meeting, the committee would present like 2 to 3 policies, and then you could review them collectively, and then vote on those and put them into place.
You give it time to the following month.
Yeah, like, so you can't do it all at once, it's so overwhelming, but just, I guess, 1 to 3 probably a month, and then you would have a subcommittee.
So the first, the policy, the specific policy I'm talking about is personnel policies, but in terms of which is going to be the biggest bear, I think it's personnel policies. And so a committee, do we have volunteers?
Even in whatever order, I think that would be helpful to, probably with the director's help, to what order of policies that you want to choose.
Just to form a policy committee in general and then
I think that's where you should start.
prioritize everything. So we
Even
can
have a
start
list
with.
of what policies are in place that might need to get changed, and then what needs to be what we need to come up with.
Because that's still just cherry picking one out. I think we should just organize it better and more clearly with the director's guidance.
I did create a document with what we have for policies and tried to rank order what I thought was the most needed. However, we didn't get to the point of a subcommittee, and that sounds like something that would be able to work, of no more than 2 board members. Do we need to make a motion to create that committee?
And then, well, my question is with the subcommittees, then, you know, I know with the hiring committee, you're still subject to open meeting law regulations, so I would imagine that any subcommittee is, correct?
Correct.
Right, okay, good. So I already lost your
I
question.
mean, as far as like keeping minutes and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why less, or why only 2 board members? Is that just?
Because if we have more than 2, there's,
Oh, hold on a second. You're right.
yeah, you're right. Sorry. I was thinking that through, so yeah.
We were trying to avoid having to warn meetings and all the requirements for a warned meeting to make it faster. However, it turned out that if whatever you call that committee
Still has that. Yeah, for transparency, it's best to just have that all out in the open.
So we don't have to limit it to 2 people, since there's probably going to be many, many volunteers for this.
That was a joke, right?
But to move forward, does it make sense that we have a committee and then, you know, so a smaller group is working on this?
Yeah.
And do we have anybody who's interested in this kind of work?
I'm interested, but boy, yeah.
Right. Lauren and Joni, do we need a motion to formalize that?
I don't think so, I don't know, do we?
I think you.
You do? Yeah. Yes?
I have a suggestion from working with the select board. Sometimes you make a formal committee to do something, and sometimes you just have several people work on something as a working group. It depends how formal you want it to be. If 2 people are going to go away and work on something separately and then bring it back to the whole committee, if you don't, yeah, if they're going to bring it back to the whole board of trustees, if you don't officially designate them as a committee, but just tell them to go do some work, you may not need to warn all the meetings.
Right.
It really depends on what you want to do, right? But if there are only 2 members and you aren't going to be a quorum, and you just want to say, these 2 members are tasked with working on this, bring your stuff back to the next meeting, you might not have to warn all your meetings if just the 2 of you talk together. That's my understanding of it.
Why haven't you been attending our meetings more regularly? That was very helpful, thank you.
And you're saying still take minutes and all of that.
Sure.
Take notes
Yeah.
within that
Yeah.
committee
Right.
meeting, but it doesn't, you don't have to warn the meeting and.
Because then, if this you're gonna go off and work on this and include Christine.
Right.
Okay, and we're done with this topic?
So it's a working group. We are a working group. Rather.
So then you would be more like brainstorming, and then the policy work would come at the board?
Whether it's a committee or a working group, all the things that are produced come back into open meeting
exactly.
at the next
Yeah.
meeting of the Board of Trustees.
Right.
So then you might present it and say, here's what we've come up with, and it will be discussed in open meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
that's,
And so, like, say for instance that Joni and I work on a couple of policies, and then we want everyone to be able to review them ahead of time. Can we send those out without any kind of interaction and no response? We can send those out ahead of time for the meeting, and then we can all discuss it openly in the public meeting.
We often do that in planning commission, sorry, I'm jumping, I knew how to, but, yeah, often we will have, several people might individually have sections of, say, the bylaws that they are going over. In fact, Harley did an edit for, line editing for format. And so then he did that and he sent it around to everyone else. And as long as you don't have discussions by email and you just say, these are the materials we'll look at in the next meeting, it's fine with the meeting law.
Okay, thank you.
But you'd still make a motion to form the
The working group?
The working
Yeah.
group.
I think so. It wouldn't hurt, would it?
It wouldn't, it doesn't hurt.
Would anybody like to move to form a working group to start working on policies?
and this is all policies, not just personnel.
All policies.
Based on Lauren's comment about getting a big picture view and deciding how to proceed.
Your help.
Yeah.
Guidance.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion?
So is it just these, you, two?
All in favor of
Yep.
Lauren and Joni forming a working group to work with the director for deciding, for drafting policies, assessing policies and drafting new policies. Is that
Working on the policies.
working on the policy? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you both for stepping up to do that. New business. We added mediation, info on retreat mediation.
Sorry. I was writing my notes. Did you just cue me there?
I did, but then I realized I didn't write something down that I said I would do.
Can you, I think I have, let me make sure I have enough. Can you pass these down, Cory? Here's one for you. I guess, you know, the last couple of meetings, we heard Julie speak publicly about the experience that she had on the school board as being very positive when they had a retreat that was helpful, when they had to get over some hurdles that were difficult, and that clearly she thought that we could benefit from that, and I didn't disagree. So I reached out to, and I don't remember if we talked about it or not, but in any case, I reached out to Carl Andier at the VCLT, and he gave me two good recommendations that was from their senior HR consultant, John Muir. One was Shroom Vermont, and the other was the Common Good Vermont Nonprofit Consultant Directory. And then I also emailed Kevin Unrath, who you are all familiar with, the same question, and he also responded with the Common Good Vermont as a good recommendation. And I think, so I don't know why that wasn't live on there, but he also, Kevin, in addition, he talked about, and I wrote it here, but I'm going to read it, a different and more complex way might be to go to a community-wide look at the priorities, like something offered by the Vermont Council on Rural Development, which, hasn't someone come and spoken at the select board meetings from that organization?
They might have, I get their emails.
Yeah, but their community visit process is an overall community strategic planning process. It's free, except for the cost of a mailer and a dinner hosted for the community, and it results in community-wide plans for the future. It's something to do in concert with the select board, but he has seen really good results in other communities from that process, and the library is a natural partner in that process. So there's another website for anyone to access if they're interested. But I thought that the fact that both of these professionals recommended the Common Good Vermont Nonprofit Consultant Directory, I looked at it, and there are a lot of options, and they both also said that they're not vetted, so that you have to do your due diligence and, you know, explore and probably look for recommendations. But just think that, you know, he was delighted that I even asked, and you know, I know that they're all watching what we've been going through, and I just think that why wouldn't we want to try to get more support and help and direction in that way, so.
I had spoken to Robin Chestnut Tangerman earlier in the summer, and he recommended the Vermont Council on Rural Development as somebody that helps towns who are having difficult discussions to kind of offer a space where everybody's voice can be heard and commonalities can be reaced or found.
Yeah, and the other thing that, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with the strategic plan, but it also, you know, it also is asking, what do you want from your resources? Like, what would benefit the most people, and what are people looking for? So I think it could be really great for a lot of reasons.
Could we do both?
Yeah, it seems like the first one would be the board mediation, and then the board can act as one with the community. And, yeah.
Okay, and what would the board mediation look like? You're saying that you would find a consultant who...
Yeah, no, so there's so many options, and even the professions are different. Like, I think that if you want, I could look further into, you know, I could try to do a little more exploration about what if there are other libraries that have used their resources and stuff like that, because Kevin actually referenced where he's seen real positive changes, so he might have more insight as to a town that's used a particular mediator, or, you know, I think they're different. There's mediation, but there's also like human resources, or there's, I think I actually, if I didn't write it, I meant to, about like HR, nonprofit, operations, health and wellness, like they can be broken down into different categories, and that was true for both those first two websites. Like, there was just a wealth of information. But again, those are all private, I think, entities, and so that's why they say you really need to vet these things. And
so there would be some expense involved?
Yeah, there would be some expense involved.
I see. And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're separating it from what I will summarize as Julie's complaint was about board dysfunction, and the first step would be address that, and then the board, presumably unified, then moves into strategic planning, which some resources are discussed here as well.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, and I think that it wasn't just, I mean, I guess it is board dysfunction, but it's also just about, you know, moving forward and making decisions and moving forward positively and finding common ground.
That's said much more positively than, yes, thank you. Do you need help exploring this further and making a recommendation?
Oh, sure. I mean, I would welcome everybody to check it out and look into it. We can't obviously collaborate online, but if you want to put it on the agenda for next month, we could maybe all do a little bit of homework. And I don't want to do this, I don't want everyone to do the same thing, but maybe even just, I don't really know exactly how to.
I think people can feed you information in a one-way kind of thing.
Oh, right.
And then coming to the board meeting,
Yeah.
you might have something more, here's a path
Yep.
that seems viable.
So if you guys want to take this and do your own exploration, and then you could shoot me on my new email address, any ideas or things or feelings that you have about it, and then I can present that back to the board next month or whenever we put it back on the agenda. Does that sound good?
Do you want me to bounce this off the library land?
Sure, of course.
Just see if other
Yeah,
libraries.
please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can be in the listserv and do it that way.
Thank you.
I'm on the listserv too, but I wouldn't be brave enough to put me out there. That's great.
Yeah.
That would be really helpful, thanks.
So because it seems to dovetail with how do we get started on a strategic plan,
Yeah.
then we'll do this step first and then work on getting started on the strategic plan.
Yep.
Then, under new business, is there anything else to say about the mediation or strategic plan? Okay, I would like to recommend a large purchase, a laptop for Christine. We got an estimate for Macintosh portable computer for $14.99.
Is it an Air? It's not a Pro, is it?
It's not, it's not an Air.
I know, it's cheaper than I used to. It's happy to find.
It's not an Air, it's a Mac Pro? For
But it's not Pro, it's MacBook. But there's MacBook Pro, MacBook,
I sent it to
There's
you, right?
There's MacBook Pro and there's MacBook Air.
and there's MacBook.
There's 3?
Yeah. But I was also pleasantly surprised by the price, because every time I price out a new computer,
Well, they just rolled out some new ones like within the last couple of days, right? So some prices come down.
it's a new cell phone, yeah. Is there...
Is there something wrong with the current?
Oh, the thinking is that the ThinkPad would go to you if
Oh, okay.
if we can free that up and then have a new computer.
Well, yeah, I was wondering about that, so I didn't understand the story of the computer that isn't functioning in the library at the last meeting. That laptop I was going to use the laptop, and then you said that Christine needed the laptop because she doesn't have a functioning computer in the library. So I don't understand the story.
Because she works off-site as well as in the library.
Okay, but at the time you said that there's a computer in the director's office that we don't have access to.
Correct.
So I was just wondering what the story is with that and how we could get access to that computer.
I believe that you can take it to a computer consultant type person and they can restore access.
Okay. Last week when I was in the library with Christine, we found that there was no tower. Is that right? Isn't that right?
Sorry?
There's no tower?
Tower.
The tower is missing from the computer?
No, it's integrated.
Oh, it's all built
all one
in
piece.
one?
Okay.
So we'd take the actual machine and have somebody come and.
Yeah,
or
yeah, it's
have-
all,
okay.
it's all,
Maybe,
It is intact. 'Cause,
Celeste was somebody that, I don't know. Isn't she our tech person?
So there is a computer that works, we just don't have access to it.
correct.
And is there a reason, or what do we need to get access to it?
Well, if we had a password, we could access the computer. Or, and this is beyond my computer skills, but consultant type person saying, oh, well, I'll just refresh it, but then we would lose all the information on the computer.
And well, we don't have access to that information.
So, but if it was brought to somebody who's computer savvy, or they could actually do that?
Yes,
So, aren't there?
I believe so.
Like, there's who's the guy in Rutland? Is it ACT or something like that? Do you guys know that?
I just go to the digital repair surgeons.
Is that in Rutland?
Yeah. But, so, I guess then I'm still confused. There is vital information for the library on that computer that we don't have access to, is that right?
I assume so.
And hasn't been accessed for how long?
I've never accessed it, but it was last used in October of last year.
Okay. And why wasn't it a priority to get that up and running?
I don't know.
Okay. So it seems like that might be a cheaper approach than the MacBook.
Well, the MacBook is portable, and that computer is portable. I'm not sure if that meets the needs, but you had asked for a computer, and so I was trying to satisfy both.
Well, right now I am able to come into the library. I do have, I have to pick up my son from the bus stop, so I'm coming down to Pawlet every day anyway, right now. The laptop it'd be nice, but I can't, I mean, the expense would be, it would be better to have, I think, the computer that we already have for us to be able to access what's on there. And the laptop Christine can keep, I guess. She can keep the laptop as is.
Okay. Is that working okay for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It would be that expensive to bring this computer to get.
Sorry?
It probably wouldn't cost that much money to get this one
Looked at?
opened up or unlocked or whatever it needs. If Bob has something.
Bob?
Well, it wasn't last year, one of the library people had the library computer was hacked, and she got a call saying that, your bank account's been...
That
she
was
went to the
Nina
bank.
on the computer there, but it's not so much that the computer was hacked, it's just that there was a spam message or a phishing message that came in.
And she lost $1,000. She lost all her money.
Right, because she gave answers to the questions that were part of that, but it wasn't...
Is that the same computer you're talking about?
No, that's the computer that
She
Nina
lost
uses.
$1,000 of the library's money?
No,
Her own money?
Her own money.
and it wasn't $1,000.
Oh, okay.
It was much more.
10,000.
Sue?
So Christine's
She
working at
lost everything.
home and working at the library. And how many hours working at the
We
library?
donated her some money.
10.
10 a week?
8 to 10, and then I do the balance from home.
Why do you do the balance from home and not be here in the library and be our librarian?
Because
I think that's off topic.
Oh, no, I'm talking, well, it's about the laptop, because I'm wondering why she needs a laptop.
Well, she has a laptop and we're fine there.
Okay, so our librarian works 12, 14 hours at home?
I'm going to...
Okay, I'll stop, but this is news, I only thought she's working 8 hours a week. Okay.
We do have a public comment period coming up.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, so the preference, sounds like this laptop's okay? It meets our needs. Corey isn't waiting for a laptop, so that changes my understanding a little bit. So we are done with this topic.
No, unless we decide to take this computer and get it unlocked?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a different issue. The laptop issue is,
Right.
I don't need to worry about that, but that's a,
But it's a computer, but.
But that is something that,
should definitely
it, you know, needs to be done and it hasn't been done.
So, should we do it?
To buy a new laptop?
no, to
Should we
get
get
the
this one
other
unlocked?
machine.
I mean, we decided, we voted on it like 5 months ago that we would do it. It just hasn't.
We did?
Yes,
So that was,
No, but not here, not in this, not in the meeting.
yes.
No, Joni, to open up that computer,
So
that right here.
it's like keys to a file cabinet, right? And we want access to the file cabinet.
yeah,
So in this case, it takes expertise.
yeah.
And who wants to take the action item of making that happen?
Well, it just needs, somebody needs to find the password. We don't have access to the password,
Correct.
and that needs to be,
And without
Figured
it,
out.
we could bring it to somebody who could save the information that's on there and open it up.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do we just need someone to take the lead on that?
Yes.
I'll do it. I mean, I'm assuming, if you guys have any recommendations, or I've used the guide from ACT in Rutland, but if you know somebody else who's better, or do you have a suggestion, Corey?
I mean, use that one place for
You
this.
know, Julia Guads and Julia Ruiz in Granville.
What's the name again?
Julia Ruiz, Gueth. She works at the Dorset store, and she does computer work otherwise.
I have another name for Granville also that was highly recommended to me. I just haven't taken the action. May I try that?
Sure.
And if I don't get it done by the time my Gmail address is up and running,
Okay.
I'm going to ask if you would like to, because Rutland sounds like another,
No, I think
Aaron
Granville
Dawson.
would be terrific, but should we make a motion on the action, or not?
Well, and it wasn't.
I think it's operations.
Okay.
And do we know what's on that computer?
No.
Okay.
All right, so then you're gonna try to do that, Harley, before? Okay.
And now I will commit to it and with a 1 week, yes,
Thank you.
procrastination. Yes.
Can we presume that there is, it has been used by the librarian during a certain period of time, can we presume that there is vital information that is on that computer that needs to be accessed? But then the question is that once you access that information, what are you going to do with it? Is it then going to be given to Christine so that she can work with whatever that information is?
The information, so far, I'm thinking plans, whatever the plans were for the elevator, is what I suspect. maybe-
Statistics perhaps from
Any budget
past-
information, that's what I'm looking for.
the past year or so? I know when Adele gives the report, she usually says, this is number of people that we had in maybe a year ago. So she's got some
She doesn't
statistics.
put that on the computer, she said.
She doesn't put it on the
She
computer,
told
so
me-
there's no
yeah.
record.
She just yeah.
The sheets that she
Yeah.
keeps.
But there has been previous director reports, for example, which had that information, in a spreadsheet.
Right.
So there is vital, you gotta presume there's vital information there that needs to be accessed.
Yes, although I think we're over the worst of missing bills and not paying bills.
Well, that's good.
I can't believe we didn't just...
So that's, can we move on to public comment after a 1-minute break?
Yes.
Public comment? Lindsay?
Yes. So I just wanted to say that I think it's absolutely disgraceful that the chair of the board, who poses as the leader representing the Board of Trustees for the library, can so casually sit up there and joke about being fired and also joke about the fact that we probably need personnel policies when I was fired over 9 months ago for absolutely no reason.
Thank you for your comment. Other comments? Sue?
Yeah, so I'm wondering about the amount of hours Christine works and works in the library and then also works from home, and why working from home, and who do I talk to?
This was mentioned at the last board meeting. 10 to 14 hours a week. There's some requirement for on-site work, and there's the rest of the time can be done off-site.
Why? Well, I mean, we need people in the library. We need a librarian that's going to be interacting with people in the community and be part of the community and be part of the library. And then why work from home? I mean, why, no offense, why come in at all then?
There's grant writing.
I would do it in the library.
Thank you for your comment.
Do it, and when people come in, you'll meet people from the community and be part of the community
And that is happening.
for 8 hours a week.
Thank you for your comment.
All right, well,
Lindsay?
Yeah, so I find it very interesting, actually, that I have an email from the chair of the board discussing the fact that I wasn't allowed to work from home, even though the job description definitely has duties that would take you outside the building of the library. And then now there's a new director who is getting a laptop to take home and is being allowed to work from home, when that was a problem apparently when I was the director. So can anybody answer that? Why it was a problem when I was a director, and now the new director has been given full reign to work from home at who knows how many hours, because you're not being transparent?
Yes, I can answer that. You had an employment agreement that stated work shall be done on site. That was in your employment agreement. We have a different employment agreement here.
but why,
Are there any other?
well, I got one more thing.
Joanne?
Being a retired librarian, I know how important it is for patrons to have access in order to do research or have questions, need to ask the librarian. Can something be put on the website so that if you wanted to plan a time to come in and meet with a professional librarian, not just an assistant or the communicator, like Nina, so I can plan to come in during a certain day and hours that she's going to be here. I really feel that's very important for the community. I mean, you have children who might have to do reports, or adults who are looking to do some research or have questions for the librarian. I think the community needs to know when she's going to be here.
Right.
Yes.
So
I meet with the librarian every week, and I will bring this up at our next meeting.
Okay.
And thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, so that something might put on the website.
Are you saying just regular hours or advertising for all of, like, are you saying?
Well, you have the hours listed for the library. This is when the library is open, but our librarian is not always going to be there.
Right.
I think we need to know when she's going to be there, so that we can
Someone wants to make an appointment.
They would know when you're
We're going to know when she's going to be here.
Yeah.
Right, actually, I
Especially
wanted
since
to
it's
know
just
when you
8
were
hours,
here.
8 hours a week. I got one more thing. On the website.
Ruth?
I didn't see you there, Ruth, sorry.
I was just curious about the length of contract. It looked like there's a 3-year contract for the current director. Is that something that we've had in past, or is that, I was wondering where that came from. That seemed kind of new.
I don't think it's 3 years.
I think it's 2.
It's just short of 2 years. And it ends with the beginning of a fiscal year.
Oh, July, okay. So anyway, speaking about hours, The hours on the website, Facebook page, and telephone don't mention anything about Wednesday night hours. It just says 11 to 5 on Wednesdays.
You're right.
And you were working Wednesday nights
And,
several months ago.
yes.
Yeah, and so then, you know, I mean, if people want to come in and, if those are the hours you're working, and it's not even on here, so it's, yeah.
Trying to fix that on the WordPress site, I started to track it down with Nina, and at that exact moment, she realized that she got scammed to the tune of $1,000. And she had to address that, and I did not finish that conversation with her.
Just now, like recently?
Yes,
Oh, again? So she got
Yes.
scammed again?
Oh,
What the hell?
yes. So I was aware of that, and I asked Adele to change it, and Adele can't get access to that part of the WordPress website.
She can get onto Facebook.
It's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. And
Oh,
yeah,
if it's on Facebook, we can change it.
and it's on the telephone. The telephone answering machine.
it's not right.
That
That's
was
That's
probably an
wrong, and the
oversight.
Facebook's wrong, and the other thing. So there's at least 3 places where it just goes till 5. So anyway. And four of the 8 hours aren't on.
Other public comment? Reflection of operating norms, focus on agenda topics. Pretty good. Be open-minded, respect each other, value different viewpoints, be responsive and responsible to our community in reference to the strategic plan. Make decisions based on data and facts, listen to each other, be reflective, run meetings that respect time, have concise agendas, are transparent. Any comments on the operating norms and our failure or success? Next regular meeting, 8th of October. Any special topics? Well, draft budget, because our budget for salaries is due to the town in mid-October. At least last year it was mid-October.
Okay.
And so that's not the library budget for the fundraising money, it's salaries.
Okay.
And so we will ask for a recommendation from the library director for the staff.
At our next meeting.
501c3, next meeting, board mediation follow-up, I have those.
Wait, I'm
as-
sorry, I'm back on this. So draft budget, you're asking just for the salary budget? For
Just the salaries for the
next meeting.
staff. Right.
Okay. And that's due to the town mid-October?
The request is due to the town in mid-October.
So the board has to have that finalized then at the next meeting?
Make a decision, and if I recall correctly, that's done in an executive session.
But I'm just saying that the draft budget, but we have to present to the select board in mid-October, so we would have to have a final budget for ourselves.
Just for the salaries.
Right, but we would have to have the final one, not a draft, right?
For that meeting.
This is a request to the select board.
But we
Right.
have to know what we.
We have to actually have a presentation to the select board that we want
Yeah,
for ourselves. It's not a draft.
just don't write
Okay.
draft.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, so then I'll just look at what we have, and then you said that, Christine,
No, I'm not sure what you're saying you
going off of
need to look
last
at.
year's,
Oh, last year's? You
right?
can see that in the town report.
Yes, and then with file that, you gave me, the budget file.
No, I don't know if it's on there or not.
Oh, right, it's not, it's in the town report, okay.
Any other special topics for the next meeting?
Do we want to do our November meeting, change the date to the 12th?
We
As we
do.
discussed, so we do need a motion for that.
We do?
Yes.
Okay. Would anybody like to move that we have our November meeting on November 12th?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Wow, political junkies. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.